Hey everyone, and welcome back to Chat Like a Native.
Oh.
Sometimes it feels like you got a pretty good grasp of English grammar and you've got a decent vocabulary, but then you have these
Yeah.
everyday conversations with native speakers, and you're like,
Uh-huh.
something feels a bit off.
Right.
So today we're going to dive deep into 7 super practical phrases that native English speakers use all the time in their everyday chats
About it.
without even thinking about it. And by
Yeah.
mastering these,
Mm-hmm.
you're not only going to understand more of what you hear, but you're going to sound
right.
way more natural and confident.
Totally.
So are you ready to unlock that next level of English?
Let's do it.
Let's get started.
Okay. One thing that I find really fascinating is that,
Yeah.
to become truly comfortable in English, it's not just about like piling up words.
Right?
Right. It's really about understanding those subtle ways that native speakers kind of connect with each other,
Mm-hmm.
reassure each other, and, navigate all those everyday social moments. And these phrases are really key to that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a great example of that is this first phrase we want to talk about today,
Okay.
which is, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like on the surface, it seems so simple,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to it than just saying that something isn't important.
Right.
Like what's actually going on there.
Yeah, exactly. So, think about it. When someone says, it's not a big deal,
Yeah.
they're not just stating a fact. They're actively trying to minimize a situation.
Yeah.
It's like saying, hey, chill out,
Mm-hmm.
relax, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
They're creating this relaxed atmosphere.
Right.
You'll hear this a lot between friends, if you make a mistake, or
Yeah.
colleagues trying to support each other through little hiccups at work.
Yeah, like imagine you're at dinner with someone and you accidentally knock over your water glass.
Oh, yeah.
And like you're super embarrassed and you're apologizing like a million times.
Right.
A native English speaker would probably be like, no worries. It's not a big deal.
Exactly. Yeah. And, if we look at the bigger picture here, for you as an English learner,
Okay.
think about how this phrase reflects a cultural tendency to avoid making a fuss about things.
Right.
It's all about keeping things harmonious and downplaying small inconveniences.
Yeah.
Whereas in some other cultures, you might find that the emphasis is more on the apology itself.
Yeah.
Here, it's more about the reassurance.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about kind of minimizing a situation.
Uh-huh.
What about when humor comes into play?
Oh, yeah.
That's where, I'm just kidding, becomes really crucial, right?
Absolutely. I'm just kidding. Is your verbal cue to
Okay.
let someone know that you're joking.
Right.
You're saying something playful, you're teasing them,
Uh-huh.
and you don't want them to take it the wrong way.
Right.
It prevents those awkward moments.
Yeah, so like say you're teasing a friend who takes forever to text back, and you say something like, oh my gosh, you're practically a snail when it comes to texting.
Right.
To make sure they know you're not serious,
Uh-huh.
you would follow it up with, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. And what's really interesting to note here is that humor is often used to bond in English-speaking cultures.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, teasing can be a sign of closeness,
Oh, okay.
but this phrase, I'm just kidding, it's like a safety valve,
Oh, yeah.
It keeps things light and friendly.
I like that.
Yeah, it clarifies the intent behind the humor.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
So we've talked about minimizing situations.
Yeah.
We've talked about humor.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk about expressing enthusiasm.
Okay.
What about, I'm down for that?
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
This is something you hear all the time when people are making plans.
Yeah, it's so common.
Right?
And it's such a great one to learn
Yeah.
because it's just a fun way to express your willingness and excitement to do something.
Yes.
It's way more enthusiastic than just saying like, okay, or
Totally.
it's like a much cooler way to say, I'd like to do that or count me in.
Right. So let's say someone suggests grabbing coffee after work.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, okay, you could be like, I'm down for that.
Exactly. And that just shows you're really keen.
Yeah.
And if we think about how this affects you in social situations,
Yeah.
using a phrase like that really projects a positive and agreeable attitude.
Right.
You're saying, I'm easygoing, I'm ready to join in, and people really appreciate that.
Yeah. I like that it just sounds way more engaged.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's, I'm down for that.
Uh-huh.
Now let's talk about a phrase that suggests flexibility.
Okay.
Let's play it by ear.
Oh, that's a good one.
This one always seemed to me like it hinted at a certain approach to life,
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
What is that approach?
Well, it's for those situations where you don't want to have a strict plan.
Right.
You're open to seeing how things unfold and making decisions as you go.
Yeah.
It's all about being adaptable.
Yeah.
You're not stuck to a fixed schedule or itinerary.
So like you and your friends are discussing weekend plans.
Yeah.
But you don't have any concrete ideas yet.
Right.
Someone might just say, let's play it by ear.
Exactly. And what I think is so interesting about this is it shows how comfortable English speakers are with uncertainty.
Well, that's a good point.
It's a relaxed approach.
Yeah.
It's about embracing spontaneity.
Yeah.
You don't need every little detail planned out.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's so freeing.
It is.
Okay, so let's play it by ear is a good one.
Uh-huh.
Now, as conversations naturally come to a close,
Yeah.
there's, I'll catch you later.
Yes.
This, to me, always felt like a more casual way to say goodbye.
It's a really common and friendly way to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Especially with people you see regularly. It's
Right.
less formal than just saying goodbye.
Right.
And it kind of implies that you'll see each other again soon.
Yes, it has that built-in promise
Right.
of like a future interaction.
Yeah.
So you're leaving a party or something, you could say, all right, I'm heading out. I'll catch you later.
Perfect. And, if we think about relationships for a second,
Okay.
when you say, I'll catch you later, it adds this sense of continuity.
Oh.
Like, it's not really goodbye. It's
Right.
just a pause with the expectation that you'll connect again.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of really positive phrases.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to deliver information that might not be so positive.
Oh, right.
So, when you need to give constructive criticism
Uh-huh.
or maybe an opinion that could be misinterpreted.
Yeah.
No offense, but
Yeah.
comes in handy.
It does. It's like a little buffer.
Yeah.
It softens the blow of a statement that could be seen as negative or critical.
Right. So you have a suggestion at work,
Okay.
but, it implies that the current way of doing things isn't working so well.
Right.
You might start by saying, no offense, but I think we might want to try a new approach on this project.
Exactly. And what's really crucial to understand here is that while this phrase can help,
Yeah.
it's still so important to pay attention to your tone of voice.
Right.
The words you choose,
Yes.
the way you deliver the rest of your message really matters.
You don't want to just slap no offense on there and then just be rude.
Exactly. You have to be genuine. You have
Yeah.
to be mindful of the other person's feelings.
And even then,
Right.
it might not always be well received.
Yeah, that's true. You have to be prepared for that.
Right. So no offense is kind of a tricky one.
Yeah, it's a powerful tool, but you have to use it carefully.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. And finally, we have, I'm all ears.
Oh, I love this one.
Right.
This is how you show someone that you're totally present.
Yes.
You're giving them your undivided attention.
Yeah. So a friend is bursting to tell you some exciting news.
Mm-hmm.
You can say, go ahead, I'm all ears.
Exactly. And when you say that, you're creating this warm, inviting atmosphere.
Uh-huh.
You're encouraging them to share. And it shows that you're genuinely engaged in the conversation.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we've covered these 7 key phrases.
We have.
They're all so practical.
Yeah.
I love them.
Me too.
Do you have any extra tips for our listeners on how to actually use these phrases naturally?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, how do we take this beyond just understanding and into actually speaking?
Right. So the first thing is practice.
Okay.
You got to actually use them in real conversations.
Right.
Don't just memorize them.
Uh-huh.
Look for opportunities to try them out.
Yeah.
The more you use them, the more natural they'll become.
Yeah.
And the second tip is pay attention to how native speakers use them.
Oh.
When you're watching shows or movies,
Uh-huh.
listening to podcasts, even reading online discussions,
Yeah.
notice when these phrases come up.
Sure.
Think about the situation,
Yeah.
the tone of voice,
Okay.
all of that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What about body language?
Oh, that's huge.
Right.
So much of communication is nonverbal.
Right.
It's not just the words.
Yeah.
It's your facial expressions, your gestures, even your posture.
Oh, yeah.
All of that contributes to how your message is received.
Okay, so we've got to be mindful of our body language.
Yes, and your tone of voice.
Right.
Like, think about it. Just kind of said with a really serious tone.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to come across totally differently.
That's true.
Yeah, so be playful.
Yeah.
Experiment with different tones.
Great advice.
And don't be afraid to experiment with different variations of these phrases as well.
Oh, like synonyms.
Yeah, exactly. So instead of always saying, I'm down for that,
Uh-huh.
you might also say, count me in.
Right.
Or I'm game,
Okay.
There are lots of options.
And that will make it sound even more natural.
Exactly. And the last thing I'll say is please don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
It's a normal part of learning any language.
Absolutely.
And most native speakers will appreciate that you're trying.
Yeah, they're usually pretty encouraging.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other resources that you recommend for people to get more practice with this kind of everyday English?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, what should people check out?
Well, there are some great online language exchange platforms and communities where you can connect with native speakers and practice your conversational skills.
And they can try out these phrases?
Exactly, and get feedback in a supportive environment.
That sounds great.
Yeah. And another idea is to keep a language journal.
Okay.
Just write down new phrases that you come across. Try to use them in sentences.
Right.
That's a really good way to make them stick.
Okay. Love those suggestions.
Yeah.
So just to quickly recap.
Okay.
We've explored 7 super useful phrases today. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm down for that. Let's play it by ear.
Okay.
I'll catch you later.
Yep.
No offense, but.
Right.
And I'm all ears.
Yes. And these are all great ways. Yeah.
To sound more natural and fluent.
Yeah.
In everyday conversations.
Like a native speaker.
Exactly.
And remember, it's not enough to just know these phrases.
Right.
You got to use them.
Yeah. You have to put them into practice.
Right.
That's how you'll see real improvement.
So here's a challenge for everyone listening.
Okay. I love challenges.
This week, pick 1 or 2 of these phrases.
Okay.
And consciously try to use them when you're speaking English.
Yeah.
You might be surprised at how much more comfortable and confident you feel.
Totally. And, mastering these little things, these practical elements of language, they can have a huge impact on your overall fluency and confidence.
Yeah.
It's all about becoming a better communicator.
So well said.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into chatting like a native.
Yes.
Keep practicing, keep listening, and we'll catch you later.
See? Yeah.
Now, I want you to think about this.
Okay.
How might your choice of these phrases change depending on who you're talking to?
Oh, that's interesting. Right?
Yeah.
Like, would you tell your boss, I'm down for that?
Probably not.
Probably not right.
Yeah.
So it's all about considering the context, your audience.
Right.
And that's something I really want you to think about.
It's a fascinating area to explore.
It is.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for today. Thanks for listening.
Bye, everyone.